the reason that I picked these is because, I mean, so the first one is the great American folk tales, like basically the only American fairy tale. That was a Jeopardy question one night, and I knew it. I was like, it's the Wizard of Oz. But that's right, yeah, and it was revolutionary and everything. So, but then I wanted kind of this quasi-mythological fairy tale. It comes from older stories, but it's an amalgamation, it's an original story that sounds old fairy tale-like. And then I wanted the modern fairy tale. So My Big Fat Greek Wedding, if you haven't seen it, you got to catch up. It's so good. The third one's coming out, for crying out loud. Second wasn't that good. First one is amazing. Don't bother with the second. First one's amazing. So here's the fun part. All right, so here's our abandoned, threatened, hidden, the companions in the mirror, the weight and the severity threatening it, the help that's going to come, and then how it's going to be neutralized and what she's going to be freed to create. Okay? Ha! This is so much fun. I'm so excited I get to show this to you guys. All right, so her abandonment is in her aunt. She's living with her aunt and uncle. We kind of get this implication that her parents aren't in the picture because she's living with them. We know that she's threatened by Elmira Gulch as much as she's threatened by the Wicked Witch. And so she kind of hides herself away in this one. She runs away. We'll come back to that. Remember that she runs away. That's the point of the story that I think a lot of people tend to kind of forget this part. So her companions, yes, are Toto. You can see her talking to him, projecting on him, all of that. And then there's the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man. When I talked about you don't really know if they're real or if they're dreams, and you were there, right? We don't know, did she really go to Oz? Was this just because she hit her head and she was dreaming the whole time? We don't really know. But that's okay. She learned what she needed to learn from her manufactured companions. So then her confrontation of the mirror are two things. She literally has the shiny shoes, which is kind of a funny element of the story. But it illustrates for her, you have something others want. So this is the Wicked Witch going, they obviously must be very valuable. She wouldn't want them so badly if they weren't. So what is the thing that Dorothy actually has? She's going to figure it out. When she's made to sit and wait so that I'll get you by 20s, right? She's up in the tower, flying monkeys, do their whole thing. The wizard then, it amplifies when the wizard can't take her home. She thinks she's done. Like, I came back, here's the witch's broom, we're good. Nope, sorry. The wizard can't do anything for her. And so she's made to sit and wait again. And so there's this, she's made to wait with the witch, and she's made to wait again, even when the balloon floats away. For crying out loud, not only is he not magical, he can't actually get her back to Oz. What are we going to do? So yes, the three others are her help when she's captured by the witch. But then the good witch reveals that wisdom at the time that she needed to hear it. And when she had to learn it for herself. You had the power to go home all along. And you got to think, you jerk. Why didn't you tell her that? Well, she wouldn't have believed me. What good is it to tell a runaway there's no place like home? Sure. You have to send them out to go learn it. Honey, there are witches. There are people who want what you have. You have love. You have a home.
But you notice they can't take it from you. You have to give it to them.
Yeah, well, exactly. And you know what? The only way that you confront these things in the world is if you have brains, heart, and courage enough to confront all of these things. That's what you're going to learn out in the world when you run away from home. You're going to have to learn it one way or another. So in a weird way, Dorothy kind of follows the hero's journey. She goes out, she learns, she does this. You'll see this pattern cross over in different ways. It's kind of fun that way. But for her, that neutralization, yes, the Wicked Witch is dead. Ding dong. But the true neutralization of Dorothy's threat is her wanting to run away from home. She has to realize there's no place like home. And then you click those heels and you get to go. It's hard to do on this carpet. I tried. And so that's when she gets to see everybody, and she gets to create this new thing because of the worth and value that she's recognized about being at home. You were there, and you were there, and you were there. So she's going to see the heart and brains and courage in these people around her. She's going to learn how to appreciate them more. She's probably going to say, you know what, you're actually very smart. You're actually very sweet. I actually think you can do that. You're brave enough. She's going to pull that out of everybody. She's going to see more in herself. She's going to see more in others. So, Moana, here's the fun one. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I'm sorry, stick with me. But her people, and like I said, Moana's one where I have to give some spoilers because there is a bit of a twist at the end. And if you don't know what that is, it's hard to know what her feminine thread is. You kind of think it's nature. Well, that too. Yeah, right. Seriously. So the idea of the people having to had abandoned wayfaring. So she finds out at a certain point in the story we were voyagers, and like that's she realizes that's why she has this draw to the ocean, because that's been in her people's blood for the whole time. And it's like, oh, no wonder, because there's this whole problem where she's hidden away, she's isolated, and no one leaves. Her dad has to kind of hide her away and keep her on the island. So the threat that she's under is Teka, the big fire monster that we see, and Te Fiti's missing heart. So the premise of the story is set up to say that Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti. She's angry, and so like she can't live anymore. So all the islands started dying. So this is why the people can't go wayfaring anymore. The ocean's too dangerous. Her manufactured companions, yes, are the pig and the chicken. But I think the ocean is her real manufactured companion. We'll talk about Grandma. Yeah, absolutely. So in the thing about the ocean, so here's a fun one. Moana means ocean. But it's basically her projection. If you watch the movie, the ocean doesn't do anything she doesn't want it to do. Even when she's scared and it's save me, and that whole wave comes, takes her right to the island. When she gives up the heart of the ocean, it comes up and goes, okay. That the ocean does what she wants it to do. It's responding to her even though she doesn't really always realize it. So her mirror moment is that reflective surface moment. I want to make a t-shirt out of that moment when it's so good. She's sitting on this boat and it's so dark, it's black on black with this like blue line just cutting the ocean, and it's this reflective moment. It's so good. And the thing that happens, I'm going to mash all of these together just to explain the story a little bit more. What happens, right, she thinks she's ready. She thinks she's learned everything she needs to know. She's ready to go in and confront Teka, and she goes into the caldera, and then Maui's hook gets broken, he runs away, and then she gets knocked back out of the caldera, and she can't do it. She feels defeated, and she's on this moment like, I was supposed to get Maui. I was supposed to bring him. I was boarded my boat, and we will go get the heart of Te Fiti. That was the whole thing. I got that. I did it. Why didn't it work? And her grandmother's spirit comes to her and says, honey, you did. You did it. You did everything I asked of you. You did more. Yeah, good job. Do you want to go home? And Moana's kind of like, she needs that moment of like, you can go home. It's okay. You did your best. And she's got that moment with the oar, and she just stops and stares into that mirror and goes, no, you know what? I am Moana. I am a wayfarer. I am going to go. I am Moana of Matanui. You are aboard my boat. And so she has this moment of recognition that, do you know who you are? Grandma came with that wisdom she always knew. That same thing, but she's right place, right time. That just opportunity to bring in that wisdom. Honey, I know you already know this. Let me remind you. So When she is in her broken boat, that's when you see her waiting. That's her montage. She fixes the boat, and she gets ready, and she's going to do this by herself because she's Moana. And then she goes in, and with the neutrality, this is the part that makes everybody cry, that when she comes, in order to return the heart, what does she have to do? Let her come to me. And she gives the tenderness, that love that was stolen from Tefiti, who's going through her own abandonment and threatened. And they just have this moment. You know, like it's just I love that music so much. I have crossed the horizon to find you. It's so good. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. She has that opportunity to be a helper to Tefiti. And that's what neutralizes the threat. So she becomes her own helper after having received help from Maui, from the ocean, from her grandma, it's okay to get help from a lot of places. So she returns as the ruler of her people, and she's able to restore them as voyagers. Yes, the ocean's still crazy, but you know what? We can command it. We can do our own thing. We can make it part of us. We can understand it. Let's go. And she's able to create something new in her people. This is the funny one. So, picking out some of these stages, I was just laughing going through the movie in my head. You better get married soon. You're starting to look old. It's the first line of the movie. My dad has been saying that to me since I was 15. You're like, oh. Now here's the thing, is that her threat is this feminine threat of needing to be married. To find a nice Greek boy, make Greek babies, and eat Greek food. Thank you, yes. That's her purpose in life, and she feels so threatened by it. Because at 15, it's like, okay, Dad. At like almost pushing 40, poor thing, you better get married soon. Oh my gosh, she probably feels abandoned by that desire. Because, yeah, Dad, thanks. Yeah, because I needed you to tell me that. Yeah, come on. So, I was from girl. Right? When she finally does end up going on the date with the guy, she's like hiding behind the counter, and sinking back when the cute guy comes into the cafe. She literally hides herself behind the counter because she was frump girl. She doesn't even feel good in her own skin. So she doesn't lean into her femininity, and it takes time for her to get to that point. So her companions are interesting. I think it's kind of the audience in this story because she has that fourth wall break. That, I wish I had a different life. When she has that moment just after her dad's rejected the idea of her going to college, and she's looking at the brochures, and you're just like, ugh. That internal dialogue that she has, I think, is bringing the audience in as who she's projecting on in this story. So her mirror, her confrontation with herself, she knows what she likes. She likes computers. She starts working at the travel agency. She gets that job. She gets a boyfriend, and and everything kind of. This is when the fun part of the movie goes, right? And so it comes a little bit outside of these specific steps in order, but what she finds is that she is happier, and yet this is kind of like, but is this the guy? Is my family going to accept this guy? No. That's absolutely the severity of the threat, is that her family's pissed.
She makes the comment, is my marriage killing dad?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Is my marriage killing dad?
And then her brother's just...
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And that's her help. She does get the opportunity. He comes in for her when he's willing to get baptized into the church. And, I'll become Greek Orthodox for you. I'm Greek now. He looks Greek. Yeah. There's the, when she has that moment with her brother, that you did that. you showed me that I could go do this. And, Nick, that is so great. And he's like, yeah, I did it because of you, Like, you're the one who went out and made something of yourself. I watched that. Her mom comes in. There's, I gave you life so you could live it. And then her grandmother has that sweet seashell tiara, and her, did your aunts and your cousin do your makeup? Yeah, just don't dab, wipe off. Just everybody. That's when her family starts to come in and make the day what it always should have been. They start to get behind her, and that severity kind of drops off. That threat of what is my marriage going to be starts to neutralize through the help that she's getting, through the knowledge that she's learned. And then she starts to find that peace, like, yes, my family is loud and crazy, but I love them. And Alicia, didn't you say this is your, like I remember you being like, oh, I understand that movie super well, because you are Greek, right? Yeah. There's a bit of a connection with this one, right? Yeah. But it is something where you're like, yeah, my family's a bit crazy, but that's where I came from. But I get to go and I get to make something new. I get to make my part of the family, and I get to make my contribution and add on and do this new renewal part of things.